Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my channel 10 Minutes Philosophy, and in this video we'll be looking what are the objections which are put forward to the dualism of Rene Descartes. This is a continuation of the previous video in which we saw Cartesian dualism, then what it is, then sensation of shivering in the body, then how in a particular way on account of desire it becomes obvious that mind influences the body. Then we also saw that dualism is supported by the many arguments such as common language, then experience, mind, matter cannot change into each other. Then dualism was supported by common sense as well. So in this video we'll be studying objections to dualism. So the mind-body dualism is upheld by everyday language and experience. It is objected in the philosophical spheres on many grounds. And the main arguments against the dualism we'll be discussing now. So there is a difficulty of establishing, the first argument is there is a difficulty of establishing relationship between mutually contradictory elements. Dualism treated as mind and body as being possessed of different qualities, quantities, but both qualifies that both the elements which qualified, those are contradictory. But when we see in a philosophical circle, there is no philosopher has managed to explain satisfactorily how these contradictory elements cooperate in creation of the universe. Then the second objection arises is how do the mind body interact? If the mind and body possesses different characteristics, how can these two react to each other? But that the two interact is a fact which cannot be denied. Descartes' explanation on this, that the interaction takes place through the pineal gland situated in the forepart of brain, is open to the many objections. Okay, and the first objection in this second point is if the mind is not extended in space, which we saw in the Descartes part 2, if the mind is not extended in space, how it can be limited to the pineal gland itself, right? And whenever some physiological change take place, how does the mind know that there should be some mental reaction to it? There are certain functions of the body produces no reactions in the brain. For example, the flowing of blood creates no reaction in the mind. Hope you're getting me what I meant to say. And if the mind body are independent of each other, then why does not one body harboring infinity of mind, or one mind functions in innumerable bodies? Every body have a different mind. Every mind has the particularities. In common language we say the mind, the thinking, the process of thinking differs from one person to another person. When we use a particular sentence, the meaning can be changed, or meaning which is grasped, that is different for different person. And this particular thing is very well explained in the field of hermeneutics. In the next video, not the next video, but in coming videos we'll see hermeneutics as well. So in the case of human beings, mind and body are also found in animals, and they are also found to possess the pineal gland. Is there any difference between mind of animal and those of human beings? Now, I don't want someone to raise a question that human is also animal. Yeah, I understand, but human is a social animal. To answer this question, human is a social animal, and there is some sort of difference between animal and human beings. That's why the name differs. Then how we can say this qualities are different in man and animal? If not, then why it is that we see no humankind in animal body, or an animal mind in a human body? Descartes explained this by saying that animals do not have souls or the power of thought. But then how do body perform different functions? I know somewhere this is very ridiculous when we say animals do not have souls. In the field of philosophy this cannot be said, but this was the argument given by the Descartes. And the another objection comes is like how their bodies perform different functions. There are many objections. We can also see like the theory of conservation of energy gets violated. Modern science accepts that the theory of conservation of energy, Descartes accepts the view that the matter is not born, that it cannot be destroyed or reduced, but the fact of interaction between mind and body has been accepted. Then does it not become necessary to accept substantial change in matter? For some time, the smallest change in the body produces remarkable changes in the mind. At the times, the most minute change in the mind results in the comprehensive changes in the body. In this changes, the mental energy is conveyed to the physiological energy, and vice versa, we can say. To make it very simple, we can take an example. When you see a snake, you start shivering, right? And this, when you see, as per the modern sciences, you see through the through organs. Those organs respond to the brain, and that how these both are connected. But Descartes cannot agree to the non-dual form of energy, and therefore his theory migrates against the principle of conservation of energy. Then we can also see epistemological difficulties. According to Descartes, real concepts are copy of actual objects. But if this is so, then the copies should be the same as the original objects. On the other hand, Descartes propounds the complete dichotomy between mind and matter. How then can the nature of mental concept and material objects be the same? How can the mental concept said to be the copy of material object? Descartes' theory therefore appears to harbor contradictory notions basically. Obviously, if mind and matter are completely contradictory, then thought and objects cannot be considered similar or identical to each other. It also experiences difficulty in postulating mutual relationship. If mind and matter are completely independent of each other and inert, then what is the relationship between two? Such a relationship can either be mental or physical. And when it is either, it will become part of the mind or the matter. In such cases, there are only two possibilities. One is that two elements will not remain independent, and the other that no relationship will be established. If the relationship is a third concept, even the mind and matter become one, the duality of the two will be destroyed. And in fact, unless one of the two elements is believed to have two form, it is impossible to establish any relationship between two mutually contradictory and exclusive elements. We also face some of the metaphysical difficulties. Like any other difficulties are created if the universe is believed to be composed of two fundamental elements, that is mind and matter. One of the obvious question would be, which of these two existed prior to other? The existence of one prior to it. If both were represented from the very beginning, that what caused them, or what were they self-caused? What is the relationship between two? Was the relation a physical one or something other than physical, one of neutrality? Actually, one way of solving all these difficulties is by accepting these two primary elements, two forms of one ultimate primary reality, as otherwise relationship between the two can be reasonably postulated. Descartes reasons that there is a God who created a universe, a God who is indistinct from the both mind and matter. But if God is the creator of these two elements, then the dualism of Descartes' theory becomes fractal and turns into non-dualism. I hope you're getting me. Both the mind and matter are identified in God, and um, the God of proof of existence of God we have seen in a small part in the part 2. If you do not remember, please go to it and check it out. Then there are more difficulties of mind and body. All those who accept the dualist standpoint to fail prove any relationship between the mind and the body, both causes believed to be puzzles of characteristics that are exclusive. No satisfactory theory has so far been suggested which can maintain dualism in the face of these objections, and inevitably the dualist theory has turned to non-dualism. To put in a nutshell, how we evaluation of dualism, how we evaluate dualism. So it is very obvious from the above objections that dualism, that is, this theory cannot provide a satisfactory explanation of the universe. It is a part of man's nature that he searches for unity in diversity. Dualism is a unity, and that can never be content without pursuing this goal. But dualism does not satisfy as long it is not resolved into a monism, in spite in spite of the fact that duality is everywhere a part of man's man's everyday's experience. Beside, neither monism or dualism taken by itself manages to provide complete satisfaction. And if philosophical contentment is to be achieved, it is very essential to establish duality in monism and a monism in a dualism. I hope these arguments are very much clear and how we can put this forward. There were many questions which were given by proper answers. Please try to understand what difficulties and what objections we can take to this dualism by keeping in mind the modern science and how the Descartes has given. I understand this theory was given long back, but still we should answer this question, and I hope I was able to answer the questions. And if you have more questions, please comment those down. Those will be answered, and the next video will be seeing proofs of existence of God, then what are the arguments like cosmological, then ontological, and how external world is taken by Descartes. Thank you. I know this has taken a long, but thank you. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye.